Hey, hey, hey. We are live only on Facebook. We'll have to upload this to YouTube because I am struggling with Streamlabs, trying to get it streamed to both platforms. Had it all set up and went live and nothing there. So I'll get to work on that and see if I can't get that figured out. Hello, Sam Burns. How are you? John Forge is watching. Rachel Huenfeld. Let us know if you're here. Hey, hey, Rachel. Good afternoon, Miss Gwen. Hello, John. Busy day. It is a busy day. Busy day for me, busy day for you guys. Rainy day. How many of y'all want to just go back to bed? Hey, Miss Bonnie. Hey, by the way, Bonnie, hold my calls since you're in the other room. All right. I give just a couple more minutes for folks to jump on. Anybody eating lunch right now? Tell me something good. Tell me what you're having for lunch. I'm gonna try to adjust my camera without like it getting all wonky. Dolores is watching. Hello, Dolores Destrick. I force myself to say your last name every time, Dolores, because it makes me nervous. I'm always afraid I'm going to say it wrong, so I just keep saying it, hoping it will just flow from my lips eventually. All right. Well, I have just a few things I kind of want to throw out to y'all today, and hopefully these Facebook Live and YouTube videos are helpful and help you get connected, stay connected. And honestly, I mean, one of the reasons I've decided to start these back is, we really are trying to keep the Sunday morning services, our Sunday morning worship experience, focused on just, making it all about God, making it all about Jesus, making it all about the gospel. And so, we're trying to eliminate, anything that can become travelogue. So we're getting rid of announcements, doing our very best to not make any announcements, and even our hospitality and guest relations folks are taking over, helping our guests get connected with the QR codes and their guest bags. And so I'm not even spending time, going through that stuff on Sunday mornings. And so we really make it about worship. We make it about our musical worship, our worship in sermons, through the word, and our worship through our giving, our serving one another. And so when you take announcements out of the pulpit on Sundays, because again, there's just never a good time to make a Sunday morning announcement. I don't know if you all realize that and realize that is that's a journey for us. That, trying to find a time, we've tried to make the announcements at the beginning of the service. We've tried to make them at the end of the service. I try to squeeze them in right before the sermon, and man, there's just never a good time. So, but when you eliminate them out of that service, you've got to get them out somehow. And so we are doing the weekly announcements that's posted on our website and sent to you by email, doing the midweek over the hump announcements to get out there. But yeah, there's so much, especially for you as a body, that we want to talk to you about, and there's just not a good time to do it. So I've started doing these lunch and learns again, and the drive time videos, just to kind of get that stuff thrown out to you guys, and hopefully inform you. But today, yeah, I really wanted to kind of just hit just a praise from our Resurrection Sunday services. We had a phenomenal crowd, and really the praise leads right into what I want to talk to you about. We had a phenomenal crowd, around 170 plus were here this past Sunday. We have not seen those numbers in years. And here's the really cool thing. Because we don't make Resurrection Sunday like a big deal, every Sunday's Resurrection Sunday at Crossroads, that's not necessarily an Easter and Christian crowd. Now, there's some. I mean, there's folks that were here as guests. But out of those 170 that were here, the Sunday before, we had 160. So we only had 10 more for Resurrection Sunday than what we had the Sunday before. We were looking at just our head counts and our check-ins, specifically for children. And about a year and a half ago, we were running anywhere between 5 to 10 children in Quest. Sometimes lower than 5, sometimes 5 to 10. We have been consistently running around 25 students, kindergarten through 5th grade, on Sunday mornings in Quest. Our nursery has about 12 to 14 babies in it. And then our preschool is really our smallest right now, which again, those nursery kids are going to move over and fill up that preschool. But our preschool is, running somewhere between 5 and 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, consistently on Sundays. And so yeah, that's, and again, we're not about numbers. We, before COVID, we weren't big into numbers. We liked tracking who was here so we could follow up with people. But it's just never really been about numbers, because numbers don't do anything. The only thing that numbers tell us is how many lives we have the potential of affecting with the gospel, how many homes we have the potential of affecting with the gospel. But when we see those numbers steadily rising and we see those seats steadily filling more and more every week, it is a sign to us that we're the Word of God, through our teaching, our preaching, our worship, is steadily going into more and more households, and that's exciting. We are seeing about 14 to 16 to 18 steadily on our live streaming streams, and so again, that's 14 to 18 households that we're streaming to, and so that's pretty exciting. And so this growth that we're seeing is really what I like to call a God-caused problem, or God-caused adjustments. And so yeah, we're just seeing some really neat things happening. And so I really kind of want to hit you with a couple of things today. One is just, thinking through and processing through with you some of these God-caused adjustments. And I made a little list of them just to help us remember. But one of the things we've noticed is the noise increases. When, we've probably in the last 9 to 12 months, we have probably doubled our children's ministry in size. roughly. Roughly doubled, if not more. Daniel was just telling me today, he was looking at stats, and the largest number of the largest group of people in our church, according to our demographics, is what? 26 to 35 is the median age of people in our church. And so that's, again, a year ago, that was probably 45 to 55. Maybe 50 to 60 would have been the median age, or would have been the largest age group, whereas now it's, that demographic is the median age. So, man, with that comes children. Of course, we have 4 of our dear ladies that are pregnant. I think a couple giving birth in May, one in June, one in July, possibly late July. So yeah, really, really cool things happening. But yeah, when we have more children, that increases the noise level. Everything gets louder. Also, it increases the noise level in the worship center. Now, I don't want to get too big into the science behind it, but the more people we have in the worship center, 2 things that happen. Obviously, the crowd noise increases just with, even whispers, chairs moving, feet scuffling, but also the more bodies are in there to absorb sound. And so we're having to make some adjustments. We as we've told you, we have several folks that are that have noticed an increase in the volume out of the speakers on Sundays, and we've noticed that too, and we are on it. We are getting that addressed. But what's happening is our sound guys, because there's more bodies absorbing the sound, and there's more crowd noise when we're singing, when we're talking, when we're whispering, when we're moving around, when we're sneezing, coughing, doing all those things. We've got to raise the level coming out of the speakers, and so that's it's causing us to have some adjustment issues. One of those issues is our drums, and so I'm going to tell you about what we're looking to do with that, because we don't want our drummers to have to change how they play, because the energy with which they play is what helps drive the energy of the singing that we're doing. And so if we ask our drummers to back off, then that creates more of the music just gets more dull, and we don't want to do that. So I'll tell you about that here in just a little bit. But yeah, increased noise levels. There's adjustments in upkeep and maintenance, with more people and more children. There are more nicks, scratches, and bumps on the walls. The more activity we're doing, which we have increased our activity by 150%. There is someone in this building doing something, gathering around the Word in small group or in midweek or some forms of meetings, ID groups meeting in the building. But with that increased traffic, we're moving chairs, we're moving tables, we're moving other things around. People are moving up and down staircases, and so again, it becomes an upkeep and maintenance adjustment. Obviously, when you bring 150, 160, 170 people in the building every week, there is more risk of things getting broken, wearing out, and doing those kinds of things. When you're introducing double to triple the children, plus double to triple the number of people in general, so yeah, we're having to clean more. We're having to clean more space. We're having to clean more often. But yeah, those are what I call God-caused problems and God-caused adjustments. Again, with the increase in numbers, Quest alone, when you're going from 5 children and 2 or 3 workers to 25 children, there is a God-caused problem there. We are in need of God's Spirit to move upon the hearts of individuals in our church to step forward and get engaged in ministry, serving with our K through 5th grade on Sunday mornings at 10:30. Right now, they currently have a 4-week rotation. And that 4-week rotation can stay in place. Nobody's leaving that 4-week rotation, but we probably need to add 1 or 2 more people into each week of that rotation. So no one should have to serve more than 1 week a month in with our Quest kids. Really shouldn't be the case in our nursery, our preschool, or our Quest kids. But we just need more bodies in there. So right now, there's currently 2 or 3 people in there, depending on the week, and they really need to have 3 or 4 people in the underground with our 25 plus Quest kids. And so if that's something that you're interested in, something that maybe you've done in the past, something you do for a living, and you would love to invest in our children's ministry, particularly with K through 5th grade, that would be a great thing. If you want to let us know that, you can also always go to our communications card. Go to the link in your announcements, your Sunday morning announcements, the weekly announcements, or you can just simply go to directionforliving.com/communication, and then go down to the section where I'm interested in and check off the age group that you're interested in that communication card. Let's see, our nursery. We have recently added a 3rd person into our nursery every Sunday. So we did have 2. Now we have 3. We are hitting a point where with 12 babies, babies and toddlers, we normally move them out of our nursery into our preschool at the age of 36 months, and that's a little negotiable depending on the attention level of the child. And the child's needs, but we normally move them up right at 36 months. Some we're moving up a little early because they can sit in a chair, they can listen to the lesson and play with the other kids in preschool. But yeah, with 12 in there, we've got 3 adults, but that can sometimes be not enough. And so we're looking for volunteers that are willing to serve in our nursery. Again, if we have enough, 1 time a month. And let me put this caveat in there. If we have enough volunteers and our volunteers show up when they're scheduled, it really should only be 1 time a month that folks serve. And so maybe if you have a child in our nursery or preschool and you're not serving, we would ask you to prayerfully consider that. We would love to see our parents getting involved, and it doesn't have to just be ladies. Now, one of the things we do is we do not allow men to serve in our nursery and preschool without their spouses. It's just one of those things that not because we don't trust men, but just in the current culture, we want to provide our men with that safety net. We've just seen our insurance company has just seen a lot of litigation and issues with not protecting men in those venues, and so mothers, women are more nurturing, but that doesn't mean that a man, a husband, a teenage boy can't serve with a family member. And so that really does. Husbands, if you're willing to serve with your wives when they serve in the nursery, that can almost double our nursery volunteers and allow us to spread that out. Preschool, we're actually good. We just had another teacher step up to serve in our preschool rotation on Sunday mornings at 10:30. I'll tell you where we could use more preschool help is we are going to need to open our preschool at 9:30 now. So over the last several years, we've had both nursery and preschool in the nursery at 9:30, and then kids worship makers have been kindergarten and up, with a few preschoolers coming in for a part of that time and then going back to the nursery. But personnel-wise, and space, and then just the sheer number of children, we are really looking for some more volunteers to step up to serve in preschool and or nursery at the 9:30 hour, as well as more nursery workers and more quest workers during the 10:30 hour. This really shouldn't be a hard thing to accomplish. If our numbers have doubled, then the number of volunteers should probably be doubling as well. And so we just wanted to put that out there. And again, we don't want to guilt anyone into serving. If you don't want to minister to children and families, we don't want you to. But what we do want is we want the Lord to want you to, and for you to want to, because the Lord calls you to. And so if you have any questions about that, you can see Miss Amanda is the leader of our Quest ministry. Miss Bonnie is the leader of our preschool and nursery. We call it our early childhood department. And so if you want to talk to either one of them, or go to the communication card and let us know you're interested in serving. The one thing we do require, actually we require two things. You must be a covenant partner of our church. We cannot have anyone serving in our children's ministries that is not doesn't have a connected responsibility to our congregation, and that accountability and responsibility comes through covenant partnership. So in order to serve in our kids ministry, you must be a covenant partner, and we do run a background check. And so those two things are all that we ask. And then we would love to help you get plugged in the areas where you feel called and feel drawn and feel like you're gifted to serve in those areas. So more nursery volunteers, more preschool volunteers, more Quest volunteers. And then with the upkeep and maintenance, we have got a ton of things that need to be maintained, need to be fixed. We've got a lot of touch-up painting that needs to be done. And so our maintenance and grounds crew could really use some volunteers that are willing to step up to help with some projects. You can also check that off on your communication card, or shout out to Damon Sosick, who's in charge of maintenance and grounds, and has a whole list, probably 15 to 20 things indoors and 15 to 20 things outside that we have that either need to be fixed, maintained, or improved. And so helping hands that have interests, electrical. I don't know if we have any plumbing needs right now. We don't have any necessarily carpentry needs that I'm aware of. I might be missing something, but yeah, definitely some outdoor. We've got some outdoor painting that needs to be done, painting, staining, power washing. We've got some indoor painting that needs to be done. We've got several places where we've either moved something, or something's gotten dinged, or something's gotten removed, or whatever. So we have several areas that we've got some painting that needs to be done, as well as just a lot of other things. So if that's something that you're skilled at, something that you're like, oh, I can't teach, but I can help with this, we would love to have you step in and volunteer and help with some of those things. And then, as we talked about, just the upkeep adjustments and the noise adjustments, our housekeeping team, listen, folks, we will always be asking for more help with our housekeeping team. John Forge is in charge of our housekeeping team. You can talk to John. But yeah, with the increased volume, we have small groups that use our building on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Worship team is here about once a month on Thursday. We have a Daisy troop that uses our building on Thursday. I don't think anything happens on Friday. And then And then, yeah, Saturday, people that are coming in, getting ready, getting set up for Sunday, preparing their areas of service for Sunday. Plus, our cleaners are here are on Friday and Saturday. But yeah, we could, with the increased traffic, the increased fingerprints, the increased touching, the increased uses, the increased snacking that goes on. There is, Friday mops. That's right. Thank you, Summer. You want to talk, there's a big portion of our group, of our church, that gets used every other Friday for mops. We are running about 30 children, about 25, 27, 28 moms. We have children in the nursery, in the preschool, and in the underground for mops. Again, there's just a lot to clean, a lot to maintain. And if you're interested in helping clean bathrooms, nursery, preschool, the underground, the upper room, the worship center, the commons, all of those areas, we have about 4 or 5 teams that help with that. And they could certainly use some help, and some areas of the building that could probably stand to be cleaned twice a week. So if that's something you're interested in, and then just as far as when I told you one of the sound adjustments that we're working on, and this will actually help ministry Sunday morning and throughout the week. But we have about $55,000 worth of capital expenditures that we are taking care of. Things that we need to purchase, things that we need to improve, things that we need to fix, things that we need to upgrade, things like the kitchen and several areas like that. Where we've had some needs, and some of that was actually paying the bills for the underground that's already done, but we paid those bills in 2021, and so about $55,000 is going out in computers and kitchen and the underground and all those things. And we had about 100,000 more in things that we've got on a list that are either coming up that need to be done, or need to be done as soon as possible. But we just, the budget this year just isn't going to be able to take care of it. So we have 3 items that we wanted to throw out to you as a capital campaign to help us get them accomplished. There are 3 items that we think would be most easily associated with this helps the congregation. And those 3 items are: 1, it would help with the sound in the worship center. We are going to purchase an electronic drum set. And so what that will allow us to do is, a lot of our noise issues come from the sound of the drums coming out around the drums, and then having to boost the sound system of all the other instruments and the vocalists in order for us to hear them over the drums. We've talked about a drum cage. We've priced drum cages, which would be basically an enclosed room, a soundproof enclosed room up on the stage that the drummer would sit in with the drums. We've priced that, looked at that. We've weighed the pros and the cons of it. And then we've also looked at an electronic drum set. And basically, the electronic drum set makes no noise of its own. It plugs straight into the sound system. So the drums would be completely controlled by the sound system. And so we already control the guitars, the keyboards, the vocalists, and the sound system. We would then be able to control the drums in the sound system as well. If we ever wanted to, really hush the room for for an altar call or for a time of prayer, they would all still be able to play. But we could bring the volume down, and they could still play with the same intensity. Whereas we're just not able to do that right now, unless we just have just Daniel play. So the cost of that electronic drum set is $5,000. We don't have room in the budget for that this year, but we thought that would be something that a lot of you could relate to and would be willing to give extra toward. So $5,000 for the electronic drum set. We could have that here in 2 weeks if we can get that ordered and get that paid for. Then we have two other needs that are not necessarily as visible, but they certainly contribute to your comfort. Right now, our heating and cooling is run for the main floor. The nursery and the preschool has a thermostat, and the commons has a thermostat. So there's two units that are supposed to run that main floor, the commons and the nursery and preschool area. We are actually currently using those two HVAC units to also cool and heat the upper room. But those two spaces have completely different climates. And so Donnie, our HVAC guy, Donnie Groff, believes that we can put one unit on the upper room and then be able to control the nursery and preschool with its own thermostat and control the commons area on its own thermostat. And then the HVAC for the upper room would have its own thermostat. But if we buy one unit for the upper room, we would be able to control the heat and the air for that area all on its own and not try to regulate both floors with thermostats that are on the main floor. Here's the problem we run into when we try to get the upper room cool enough because it's got an exposed roof and obviously the sun is beating down on that roof. And so it gets warmer than the floor underneath it. And so in order to cool that upper room, we freeze out our nursery and preschool folks. In order to keep it warm, we burn up our nursery and preschool folks. Again, because it doesn't have the insulated ceiling that the nursery and preschool has. It's a larger room. So anyway, $4,000 will buy the HVAC unit that will go on the roof, and that will buy the HVAC unit for the upper room. The other HVAC problem that we have is we have two units in the worship center. One that controls the east side, one that controls the west side. And then we have the balcony. In the summer, the balcony doesn't ever, in the winter, the balcony doesn't ever get warm enough. They stay pretty cool up there, which they can put on coats, and that's not as big of a problem. Hot air rises, so it's not bad. Summer is where it's really a problem, and it's not just the people that are in the balcony; it's our equipment that's in the balcony. So Donnie would have to verify this for me. I don't know if he's on the video or not and can do that. But we are when we've got it about 70 degrees down in the worship center on stage in the seats, it's usually about 80 degrees or 85 degrees in the balcony, and we just can't get it any lower. And so we have computers up there. We have a lot of digital equipment up there, the lighting equipment, the digital equipment, all those things. And then we keep the whole building at around 80 in the summer when people aren't using it. So the worship center stays about 80 most of the summer, except for when we use it on Sunday mornings. Well, again, 80 in the worship center on the main floor is about 90 in the balcony. And so, and we hate to have to cool the whole worship center in order to protect our equipment that's in the balcony. And so, Donnie believes that we can put what's called I've forgotten now. But it's a split unit. That's what it is. A split unit in the balcony, what we call the loft. That would cool just that area and help us keep our equipment up there. I think we've got 4 computers up there, plus the soundboard and the lighting equipment and things. We could keep that area cooled with a split unit that, again, would be about $4,000. So here's our ask. We are hoping that over the next few months, as you get your tax returns, different things, that we can raise $13,000, $4,000 for an HVAC unit in the upper room, $4,000 for a split unit that would go in the loft, in the balcony, and then $5,000 for the electronic drum set that will solve a lot of our sound issues in the worship center. So that's our ask. Now, the ask is this, and we say this all the time, but if you're new, I want to make sure that you're aware. When we ask for people to give toward a capital campaign, you can mark it on your offerings. You can mark it on your offering envelopes. I think the line is called "Time to Build," and we'll know that's for the capital campaign. If you do it through electronic giving, whether it's a text to give or through the app or through the website, you would be giving to Building Fund. So Time to Build or Building Fund will know that's designated for this capital campaign of $13,000. That's over and above the other $55,000 we're already spending on capital improvements in the building this year. The ask is this, that you give over and above what you're already giving to your tithe. Please don't say, oh, I'd love to give toward those needs, so I'm giving $100 a week in tithe. I'll give $50 to building and $50 to tithe. That doesn't solve the problem for us, because that $100 that you're giving toward the building is actually going toward upkeep, maintenance, and utilities and salaries and all those things. So we've got to maintain those things if in order to be able to purchase these other things. So, if the Lord lays it on your heart to give a special offering toward either of those HVAC units, the split unit in the balcony, the HVAC unit in the upper room, or for the electronic drums for the worship center, if you would like to give over and above what you're already giving in a regular tithe to that, you can mark it Time to Build on your envelope or mark it Building on your electronic giving. And we'll just see what God does, and we'll move accordingly. And so God caused problems. I mean, aren't these great problems to have? We're trying to cover up marks on the walls. I am so thankful for marks and scrapes on the walls. I'm so thankful for spills in the nursery and spills in the toddler room. I do not want a building that stays pristine because there's nobody in it. So I would much rather be asking you to step up and help by serving, and to step up and help by contributing financially, than to say, oh man, I need you to step up and help because there's nobody here helping to pay the bills. We don't need to upkeep or maintain anything because nobody's showing up. That is not a problem we have here at Crossroads. Praise the Lord. Amen. To God be the glory for that. All right. Well, I've taken all the time I can. I wasn't going to talk for that long, but I did. But I'll give a synopsis on the video once it's posted. But yeah, hi, Miss Donna Tubbs. It is so good to see you. Can't wait till you're back here in person. We love you much, dear. All right, folks. Have a phenomenal day. I'm going to leave and go to lunch, and I hope you have a great lunch as well. God bless y'all.